So I'm back with 41 Years of Mills and Boon, and it's part of a two-in-one, okay, from the Mills and Boon Cherish line. First one up is called The Prince She Never Forgot by Scarlet Wilson. Let me read the blurb. The Prince She Never Forgot. 10 years after therapist Ruby shared her unforgettable kiss in Paris with a stranger, she shows up on her doorstep and reveals that he's a prince. Duty has kept Prince Alexander away, but now it can make their dreams come true. Okay, so it starts off in Paris, where Ruby is having the world's worst luck. Essentially, she's lost a friend in the crowd. It's Paris, it's New Year. Her boyfriend is just, well, her ex-boyfriend is kind of like that. However, her life is particularly going good. She just started her dream career, and it's going okay for her in that respect. But then, in an ultimate meet cute moment, she loses her friend in the crowd, bumps into Alex, her phone breaks, and here we go. Right, and I just love this, okay, because this is such an expo dump of Paris. Now, I've been to Paris, it's alright. And this bit here, this bit here. The group has already planned their night with precision. Dinner on a riverboat, drinks in a hotel, a walk down the Champs-Élysées, and rendezvous at the Eiffel Tower for the fireworks. The crowds were so sweeping along St. George V Avenue, carrying along anyone who happened to be standing close. It was one part terrifying, one part exhilarating. The crowd was even thicker at the Royal de l'Université. The street was packed, with everyone heading towards the base of the Eiffel Tower. You see what I mean? It's like, Champs-Élysées, Paris, yep, we got it, we're in Paris. But anyway, okay, she meets Alex, okay, and after the worst year, and this sums up the worst year. Trust your instincts, that's what Grandma probably told her, and should have. Because if she had, she probably wouldn't have found her boyfriend in bed with her ex-best friend. Truth was, she can wait to the end of a stinker of a year. That's Alex. So Alex has to cheer up after, obviously, finding her ex in bed with her, ex-boyfriend in bed with her ex-best friend. So there's another friend called Polly's kind of featured in this. She's supposed to be with Polly when she loses her. Okay. And the thing is, the whole thing I actually do like is the fact is that when Alex and Ruby are talking, their relationship, it just feels a bit exposition dump, but also quite organic as well. When someone's got a really big news and explains to someone what it's about, which I thought was really kind of fresh, and I like that. I actually like Ruby as a character. I just like her enthusiasm and pretty much everything. I work with children with specific language impairments and language disorders. These kids made progress every day. In it, it's just in the tiniest way. Even what with children with hearing problems, seeing the looks on their faces when they got a cochlear implant and heard for the first time. It was magical. Exactly what I wanted to do. Here you go. So she started her training into becoming a therapist. Okay? But then they had this magnificent kiss in Paris. And then at the moment, okay, his bodyguards come and grab Prince Alex. And there's a moment where, this is pure, obviously, Mills and Boone fairy tale. He's like, tell me your hotel. Because she hasn't got a mobile, obviously it broke. And it's the wrong one. Here you go, it's the wrong hotel. So, or they just misheard each other. So he actually does try to find her, but he never can, never again, though he knows her name. Ruby Weatherspoon. And then, afterwards, New Year, Ruby's back in London, and then she sees on the news. Right. The unconfirmed reports that King Leopold of Ironia, I am so sorry, okay, but as a country, that sounds ridiculous, Euronia. Now, from the way it's described, it's supposed to be someone like Monaco, okay, but Euronia, that sounds like a disease. I came down with a case of Euronia. It does, doesn't it? The unrequired principality has seen a flyer activity in the last few days as private jets have been seen landing at the state airport. Crown Prince Alexander has returned home after a recent sojourn in the US, with plenty working for MIT and Harvard University. There you go. And then Ruby realizes, oh my god, it's her prince, it's her crown prince, okay? And she's like, well, obviously, okay, we should a kiss. He's gonna forget all about me. He's a prince. He has to be the princess, and we're just one kiss in Gale Paris at midnight. Yes, with the fireworks. So, okay. And so Ruby's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna put that all to bed. And then 10 years later, 10 years, okay? Alright, 10 years. Now, the thing is, every single, month for 6 years, okay, Ruby's been getting these specific flowers, okay, because she said to Alex, what I want to do is kind of like work with children. Right now I'm working with like kind of stroke victims, but I kind of want to go into working with kids, okay. And then for 6 years at this department where she works, someone's been sending her flowers every single month for 6 years. And guess who it is? Oh yes, it's Alex. It's Alex. Because Alex turns up because his daughter Annabella, who's 3 years old, she can't speak. She has selective mutism. It's not really kind of explained the actual name of what she has. Okay, it's kind of more like an open interpretation. Okay, which I don't know if that was clear or not. But the thing is, when you go for something specific, you got to do a lot of research, and there's never ever a right answer to that. So I kind of like the fact that they kept it kind of ambiguous, a disorder, but they said it could be. So it's actually quite good writing there. So kudos to you, Scarlet Wilson. Okay. So then Alex turns up and says, "Can you please come back to Euronia with me to help my daughter? I only trust you with it. I take her to specialist, but no one can help my 3-year-old. Of obviously recently lost her mother, who passed away shortly after she was born. No one can help with my daughter. Can you?" Okay. And especially he blackmails her. There you go. Right. As I promised your director, permanent funding for two more members of staff if they release you to work with Annabelle. Plus filling your post while you were gone. Her brain was whizzing. 2 more members of staff can make a world of difference to this place. Time, it would just give her staff time. One thing she couldn't conjure up for them. Right, okay. So does no established clinic, do you work for a private clinic or for the National Health Service? Yeah, that's something, because okay, fine. But essentially, he blackmails her to go back to Euronia. Sounds like a disease, and it's for here. It's when a cake getting in for a dump of Euronia, and this place makes 0 sense to me. But this is Monaco. Fine. We was on private jet, by the way. She stared out the window as the plane came in to land. Her vessel at Euronia, a stunning widening coastline overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. Population of 200,000 people over an area of 70 kilometres. Rich and famous for October because of the tax benefits. The place of Euronia because it seemed to host every celebrity wedding that had ever existed. Yeah, it's that crazy. 200,000 people, that's nothing. It's tiny. Is that like the size of Luxembourg? It's like described like Monaco, but kind of described like Luxembourg. Okay, but this bit here also, okay, because this tiny place came only 200,000 people. Okay, is at the time Prince Alexander's father is still alive, but he's being receiving like specialist care and treatment. Okay, once again, makes no sense. Okay, right. King Leopold. Right. Where is your father? Is he here? Right. He's not here. He's in Switzerland. Switzerland. His stroke was severe. We have a hospital in Euronia, but we don't have ICU facilities. What, for anyone? At all. Right. In her frequent bouts of pneumonia and needs assistance with breathing, he has been kept in ICU. Euronia doesn't have these facilities. You actually said that twice. Hold on. You are the size of Luxembourg. You describe like Monaco. You have 200,000 people who live there. You are a celebrity weddings. You obviously have, and tax haven. Okay, so that's what's thrown in there. But you don't have hospitals with dedicated intensive care units. Or you can't afford to have intensive care units or specialist care. Right. I'll just leave that there. Right. And one thing I did like about Ruby is that Ruby is a total geek, and I love that. She reminded me a lot of, I guess, in a weird kind of way, me. She likes musicals, she's a geek, she's refreshing. It's nice actually for Mills and Boone Cat to have a bit of nuance to it. It's not all about the business, okay? It's all about a little bit about them. Just bit here, okay? There's a lot of film quotes here. You noticed that? Right, it's about Annabelle. The only time she showed interest in a tablet, which she could use easily, was when she was watching clips of singing and dancing to films. Annie, The Sound of Music, a 7 out of 7 bar seemed to be the favourites. God off my own heart, Annabelle, Princess Annabelle, thank you. So, right. But the thing is, it also explains, okay, what happened with Sophie, and Sophie is the deceased mother. Now, it is quite sad actually, because what happened was that Sophie was the future queen of a neighbouring kingdom, and then she got sick with cancer, and so she married Alexander to have her heir because she knew she wouldn't live that much longer, and to also ensure the alliance, because basically then Annabelle's become basically the kind of bridge between two principalities. There you go. Right. And the way you describe Sophia, which I no, she sounds awesome. Sophia was very single-minded. She knew she would die eventually. Having a child was the most important thing to her in the world. She could have had the type of chemotherapy while she was pregnant, but she refused. Right. So, and then she refused chemo, and that's that's quite sad. And I actually liked descriptions of Sophia. Sophia sounded absolutely awesome. It's interesting when you read a story where the characters in the Mills and Boone novel have a deceased one, and it's only an unhappy marriage. And her and Alex married not for love, they cared about each other. They loved each other in that respect, more like friends. They married each other for their kingdoms, and I thought that was quite noble, and I actually liked that. For someone who's deceased in a Mills and Boone novel to actually get that level of character development, even though we never actually meet them, you feel like you wanted to meet them. And I like that. There you go, some positivity. There you go. Right. And one thing is interesting though is this, now obviously I'm British, yes, accent gave that way, is the fact is that as a member of staff, Ruby starts to really kind of overstep the mark here, okay? I mean, yeah, she's going out with Alex and obviously getting Annabelle involved, and they're talking and they're being friends. But this bit here and this bit here, okay? Right, this bit here. Ruby was here to do a job. She'd already made an impact on herself by insisting she stay in the servants' quarters next to Annabelle. She tried not to smirk when she heard Rufus's private secretary scolded for calling him Alex. You must address him as Your Highness or Prince Regent, he insisted. Ruby had laughed and waved her hand. Nonsense, he's Alex. Right. There was a humming air around her. When she remembered her manners could be impeccable, but most of the time she was just Ruby, and his staff were starting to warm to her. Right. Oh, you don't say that. I mean, you wouldn't say that to anyone in the royal family. You know, okay, they might be a friend of yours, because at the end of the day, she's not his friend. Now, say I was friends with a royal, okay? You know, before they became a royal, someone who married into it or whatever, okay? I wouldn't have that pomp and ceremony about them, okay? Because you wouldn't your friends. But she's still an employee. That means it's still sir, okay? That's just the way it is. So, yeah. Alright. And once again, the film trivia comes into play a little bit. Here we go. It was when, okay, they're going for out for the day, okay? And Alex decides to get her a new wardrobe. Here you go. Right. And she's like, oh, I don't sure I need these. I don't know how much longer I'll be here. And I've got clothes on my own. Okay. Rufus, oh, he's obviously the servant, getting almost imperceptible, that's a long word, shake of his head, and he turned to leave. They're here now. Enjoy. How very pretty woman, she sighed. Her head was swimming. Was this a way Alex to buy her? Did he want to dress her up like some doll? Every dress was beautifully styled, and there was a rainbow of colours. It was strange, but whilst they were all different, now was in a style she wouldn't wear. So much to given her friend Polly a free budget and a run of all the designer houses. Oh, how very pretty woman. Okay. Right. Right. And this here, once again, 2 pages later, Pretty Woman gets another mention. The double cameo remarkably familiar. Richard Gere was going to appear any second now. Didn't he buy Vivian a new wardrobe in Pretty Woman? A perfection may not compare Vivian's, but the thought of Alex purchasing a whole wardrobe for her was both mildly disturbing and somehow exciting. She never to be insulted or enjoyed. And she's like, we can't buy me Alex. Like, I wasn't buying you, we're seeing some new clothes. Right. But later on though, she starts to kind of enjoy the privilege of kind of seeing Alex on the sly as she does helping Annabelle with her speech and all that kind of stuff comes into play. Right. Right. Right, this bit here. Right. This chapter 7. There's definitely something wrong with her. She's getting used to these clothes. She's getting used to opening the closets and seeing the rainbow colour of the beautiful garments hanging up from waiting to be worn. Right. Her blue jeans had been stuffed in the back of the cupboard along with her baseball boots. It had only been a week and she didn't want to pull them out anymore. Even the pale green dress that she'd worn when she'd arrived, the best thing, she had it like a poor cousin Hannah to all the designer clothes. That's the like in the privilege. Right. Right. And the fact is, once again, her and Alex getting along. There is like a subplot where Annabelle starts to sleepwalk, and she kind of catches with like Ruby takes her into her bed for comfort, and there's like a moment where it'll kind of start having to go at each other because Alex woke up, didn't know his daughter was, there was panic in the household, and that's resolved quite quickly. And it all comes down to deceptive mutism is that uh, Annabelle misses her mother. That's one of the causes of it, which actually is once again quite sad. Right. hmm Oh, and this. Oh, sorry. I thought about you, Ruby. I thought about you a lot. When you didn't reply to the message I left I just assumed you'd changed your mind. I thought you had seen the news and didn't want any part of it. Right. Oh, Alex, I never got your message, Alex. And once I realised who you were, I assumed you didn't want to know me. Plain old Ruby Witherspoon. You were a prince, for goodness sake. With a whole country to look after. I didn't think you'd even remember me. Oh, but Ruby's so hard to forget. Right. But the thing is, once again, Ruby's getting the cousin to play. I just want to throw this out there, okay? Because if we can debate elsewhere. Right. He's a prince, Ruby. What do you want? Instead of talking to Polly. He said, I want you to know the normal things. I want to get to know him better. I want the chance to go out and have a glass of wine with him. I want to go out to the cinema and fight about who's the best action hero, or who the Star Trek captain is. Picard. Polly cut off quickly. It's always Picard. What, no love for Cisco? Cheers. So, but they're getting on and they're bonding and they're coming together and they're kind of clandestine, seeing each other. And then there's the ball. And Ruby, since obviously her name, wears red. It's a signature colour, fine. And of course, at this party, this snooty party, people looking down her nose at her like, oh, you're the one who got the prince kind of thing. You're the one who got the prince. Right. And this bit here, okay, this is a woman called Maria. So how did you do it? How did a sweet plain Jane manage to catch the prince's eye? She sneered. Or was it just too easy for him to do to hide help? The vulgar words were spat out. Lydia Mayer told me about you. She said you weren't even eye candy, and she was right. Well, I guess some of us have hidden talents, Maria. Maybe our core values and ethics are just apparent. She let her fingers run over the sparkly drop diamonds. Do you like the earrings Alex gave me to wear? They were his mother's. She met the cold grey eyes of another smile. Always think less is more, don't you? So yeah, so basically someone tries, looks down her nose and you're thinking here, someone who's actually dating the prince, you should be a little bit more cautious with that. But anyway, because people obviously going to find out about it. And there was actually a nice subplot as well with Sophia, was parents who obviously mourning for their daughter and understanding that Annabella, who with her verbal issues will eventually become the queen of both the kingdoms. And it is actually quite a nice moment where, from Ruby's point of view, she doesn't know how to take this, this queen, this aloof queen who's still mourning for her daughter and then concerned about her granddaughter. But the fact is, she turns out to be a totally cool woman. She's really understanding. She actually gets that. She actually likes Ruby. She actually gives Ruby the push to kind of come back into it. And I like that. No conflict. You think there'd be conflict, but there's not. It's nice. But then, of course, sorry, I need to adjust my foot. As I mentioned before, I've got titanium in my right foot and it hurts. So, give me that. If you see me adjusting, okay, it's because I need to adjust my legs. Okay, right, back to the review. Right, but then obviously, it's leaked in the press. It's leaked. And you'd think, and this, I don't know what's going on with Ruby. Now, you would think someone who first of all was British. Now, obviously being British, her well press absolutely nasty and the vile. But the thing is, she has this thing, where I'm still Alex, but no one's going to care about me. Rubbish. So she goes out after the ball, and this is chapter 11. People looking at her, people fixing their eyes on her, muttering under their breaths. She'd been in shops in her city centre on lots of occasions recently, but she never noticed this. It made her feel so uneasy. She may not speak fluent French, but she always muddled through and felt welcome in Eronia before. This morning it felt so strange. And then the newspapers outside one of the nearby shops fluttered into the wind. Something caught her attention. It was the colour on the front page. Is that colour one of the dresses in the wardrobe back in the palace? Her feet were drawn automatically. The hand was pushing the fluttering pages. Princess Ruby. So yeah, it's in the press, and she totally freaks out. She pretty much abandons Annabelle to run back to London because she can't deal with the press. Sorry, you are British. She talks about living in London. What, you think the press are going to come after her? They're going to come after her. Should have had media training. She didn't have that. Okay, but the fact is, okay, she acts so naive about the press want to know more about me is ridiculous. And I kind of hate this in a Mills and Boon novel. When characters from countries with royal families, from capital cities where the royal family live, who are probably seeing for themselves how and what the royal family are treated by the press, okay, and it's despicable, by the way, okay, act so naive about it. It's really, really annoying, right? But of course, okay, this bit here, right? What happened to respecting your privacy? What happened to respecting my privacy? This is when I first got here. How many more private pictures did they have of me, Alex? This is Alex's point of view. Exactly what he hadn't wanted to happen, but the last few days, those feelings for Ruby had just started to overwhelm him. She'd been in his mind and his thoughts for 10 years, having her under his palace roof had taken every single element of self-control. She opened his world again, asking the right questions, made him question his own thoughts and feelings. She influenced his relationship with his daughter, who had proved beyond all recognition. Right. hmm Okay. But he goes, okay? He goes, and he lets her go. I think after she finds out that, Alex says that I love you, but in the end, okay, they go back and they get back together, and there's a big wedding, and Annabelle's speaking more, and Sophia's mother's a cool old lady, gives her blessing and writes a letter saying, I get this, and present is just part of it. Again, gonna have to learn. Now, but, as it goes, apart from Ruby's naivety about how the system works, I generally liked her character. I liked Sophie's character as well, even though, okay, she is the lost Lenore. There's so much, she sounds like an amazing person, into art and fashion and culture, and sadly refused chemo so her daughter would live longer, so she only had 10 months with her. Okay, so I liked Alex. I didn't really like these characters. The only thing made it fall apart, even though Ruby was this awesome geek, by the way, and the put in the Mills and Boon novel, who's the best Star Trek captain, okay? Ricardo Cisco. Let's remove cut off an equation, okay? I liked it. I generally liked it. I think Scarlet Wilson really turned a really, really good story, and it's one of Mills and Boon novels I would love to see turned into a film set at Christmas. Oh, and also they get back together and he proposes to her in Paris, New Year's Eve, at the Eiffel Tower with a ruby and diamond ring with fireworks. Pure Mills and Boon magic. And so for that, I actually do recommend it. I liked it. There you go. So with my titanium filled leg, I am signing off here. Take care, everyone. Bye now.